Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Marvel. Today we're going to give you our spoiler and non-spoiler thoughts for Thunderbolts astricks. And I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot about that. Plus, there's a whole bunch of news and rumors to talk about as well. So, the Val of this operation, I'm Petter, and co-hosting as always.
The taskmaster of this podcast, everybody. It's Greg, everyone, and thank you for setting that up. That was like really well. It just handed over my intro to me. It was great. Thank you. I could tell you were really working hard and thinking of one off the top of your head.
I was almost going to call you Mel.
Oh, oh yeah. Mm, I mean, she's pretty smart, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping this is not my last podcast, everybody. But I need to turn off my alarms here on my other device. Okay, let's get into it. If you're looking for ways to support us, you can find us on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Search 10 Minute Marvel. Give us a like and thumb smash that subscribe button. Find and follow us on Facebook and that other thing that has an X by it. Hashtag 10 Minute Marvel there. And of course, you can leave a rating and review wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. So,
Yes.
rumors, news, what's your liking?
So let's kick it off with the rumors here. We're going to start with some of the small ones and move to the, oh my goodness, this is a ton of rumors. Ones. So first off, this one comes from Cosmic Circus that Death will be returning, um, Aubrey Plaza's character from Agatha all along. Thoughts on that? And when?
When? I was just going to say, when will she be returning? Um, Obviously, I'm all for Aubrey Plaza coming
Yeah.
back as Death, or any character for that matter. Small Aubrey crush, maybe just a little bit. Um, Off the top of my head, where would she come in? Probably Vision Quest?
Yeah,
No, maybe. It's kind
maybe.
of in the same vein, right?
Yeah. Well, and if
Uh,
like Billy and Agatha show up in that, sure.
sure.
Uh
Otherwise,
Doomsday collecting everybody who dies.
that'd be kind of fun. Kind of like that. Um,
A wild post-credit scene like that.
I guess you're coming back in a Thor movie.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe if we get whatever Wanda ends up in next,
Hmm.
which very well could be Secret Wars.
Vision
I guess it's
Quest.
Vision. Oh yeah, I don't know. That's another big
Yeah.
question mark, right?
The Vision show, since I don't think it's officially called Vision Quest.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it'll
Tu-
be Vision Wanda. No,
Tunnel vision. What other visions can we go with?
Double Vision.
Panavision? Is it double vision? Double vision. That's kind of
Yep.
fun, but we don't have two visions.
Fill my eyes. That double vision.
It's purely so they can have that song. That's
Yes.
they're basing an entire show or movie around
Yep. That's what I would do.
that.
Uh, Next up, Adrienne Palicki says that she has had talks with Marvel about returning as Mockingbird.
From Shield, right? That,
Yep.
yeah. Um, cool. I feel like
Yeah.
that's just kind of long overdue, probably,
Long
but
overdue slash too long
too
ago
late.
that, yeah.
Although I think she would fit in really well. That character can easily migrate into the MCU, I feel like.
Was
So,
that an intentional bird joke?
y yes, yes, it was.
So the reaction I saw said, no, no, it wasn't.
It was, dang it. How did I miss that?
That's what I'm
Good.
here
I'm
for.
so good, I don't even know it.
Then let's talk about the Chris Claremont interview or panel that he did at some con, where he was talking about what he knows about Secret Wars and Doomsday. Um, and I did a video about this on the YouTube channel, so check that out. But Greg, obviously, we don't have his thoughts on this yet. First one being Psylocke returning in Doomsday slash Secret Wars.
Cool, I
Yep.
guess. I mean, it's kind of done. I don't want to say done dirty in the first class. What was that in? What was she
No,
in?
not first class. That
Oh,
is,
oh, oh. Apocalypse one? X-Men
yeah,
Apocalypse? I
maybe.
think that's what it was. It's the one where Jennifer Lawrence really phoned it in, I think, and then
Yeah.
she wouldn't do any of the makeup, which I don't blame her.
Yep. So it was X-Men Apocalypse. Correct.
Yes. What do I win?
Um,
Another another podcast? I can be on
yep.
another podcast.
All right. Wolverine kills somebody important
Kind of already happened. I don't know. It happened in
on screen.
on screen. Cool. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it
Who?
not a lot to go on there.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, is he the one who maybe takes out RDJ's Doom at the end?
I guess give it to the one of the higher paid actors, right? I
Yeah.
suppose. I don't know.
Yeah. That one
Sure.
didn't. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, he's if Wolverine's in the movies and it's a battle world,
Mm,
high odds he kills somebody.
I'm gonna say
And
Chris Evans is Nomad. That's what I'm gonna say.
all right, we'll get to Chris Evans here in a moment,
By the way,
but
if I get that right, I get
yeah,
to be on another podcast.
yeah, yep.
Okay, earning my way here, people.
hmm One podcast at a time. Elizabeth Olsen returning as a good Scarlet Witch.
Sure. I
I'm
mean, I
I'm
like both
actually
sides actually,
yeah.
but
I'm actually in the camp of I don't want this one because I think that would just be confusing to people a little bit. You would have to do setup to be like, oh yeah, this is a one from a different universe who has all the powers of the Scarlet Witch, but she's good. This isn't the one that we saw in WandaVisions and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If you, that just seems like too much work. Bring her
yeah,
back when you can redeem her through a show or a movie
yeah,
instead of tacking it into a hey multiverse.
yeah. Don't gloss over the redemption. That's
Yeah,
for her, not for her. It's
yeah.
so
RDJ playing four different characters.
yeah. I don't doubt he can.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean Doom and Multiversal Iron Man would be two of them. I really got no idea for the other two.
yeah. Um,
I'm also like, why?
right,
This again
right.
feels like it's adding confusion where it will hurt the story instead of where it will help the story.
I mean, yes, I imagine they've kind of sorted through some of that, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just like a Tony Stark that doesn't take the path of Iron Man or
hmm Yeah.
Doom, and it's just kind of a rich, bratty kid. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I'm
know.
kind of like, eh. And then the last one, Chris Evans playing multiple characters, including an evil Captain America or maybe Captain Hydra,
Mhm.
something like that. Nomad, like you mentioned.
I meant Captain Hydra. Now I said instead of Nomad, Captain Hydra. Sorry.
It was already written down. So
Oh, crap.
this is
So
going to make
dang
it
it.
trickier for you.
I'm not going to win that one, I don't think.
Yep.
Oh, I have to win something else to gain another week on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that one I'm kind of,
I think that's just the way it's going to be. I
yeah,
think
I
you're
think
just going to
it's,
see different ones. I mean, you got to get as
yeah,
much as you can out of these actors, I guess,
yeah.
to fulfill a
And
story.
yeah, I'm more opposed to the idea of him potentially playing multiple characters than Chris Evans showing up as a old man Cap or Nomad or Captain Hydra. That, give him one of those. I'm fairly cool with that. Give him all three of those plus a classic Captain America. That's just, again, that's just too much. Why? For the movie? Like, why is this even here at that point? It's too much.
Does somebody have their hands on the script? Is that I mean, a little leak? Somebody that
No,
has
I
been
mean
working on the script?
This is Chris Claremont. So Chris Claremont um obviously was big in the revitalization of the X-Men
Yeah.
comics. I think that he's maybe seen some whiteboards where some ideas were up on it or was asked about some stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on X or Y or Z? How how would you tell that in the comics sort of thing? So whether or not these actually get pulled in, I don't think that he would have extensive access to a script.
Nor why would he
Why would he
s-
spill it all?
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's all the Chris Claremont stuff. We also have in the rumors then RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., will only be Doctor Doom for Doomsday and Secret Wars, and then Marvel would look at replacing him as Doom.
Probably best.
Yep,
I mean, the price tag alone for Downey to show up is,
it's
you
high.
know, yeah, it's like a movie itself. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, I understand that. I would not fault Marvel for doing
yep.
that whatsoever. So,
Well,
and the,
especially if they jump into more X-Men stuff that we'll talk about coming up here
mhm.
in the news piece. But if it's going to be X-Men focused, sure, bring back the Fantastic Four, this group of the Fantastic Four in, I don't know, 2 years after the events of Secret Wars, have done like two or three X-Men movies. And well, they've settled into Earth as the Earth was kind of reset after the events of Secret Wars. A Doctor Doom was rising up in power. That
Sure,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
All right. Then this one is the really long rumor. I'm going to go through all of these names, and I just want your initial gut reaction, Greg. Likely or unlikely that the actors show up in Doomsday.
yeah.
First
Yep,
off,
yeps and nos. You'll get yeps
yep,
and nos for me.
Mark Ruffalo,
Yep,
agreed. Benedict Wong,
yep.
agreed. Brie Larson.
Mm. Ugh. Yep.
All right. I'm actually going to go no on that one.
Okay.
Don Cheadle.
Yep.
Okay, agreed. Karen Gillan.
Nope.
I agree. Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. Probably have
Yep.
to.
Aman Vellani.
Yep.
Agreed. Denai Guerrera.
Right. Namor? No, that's not
No.
Namor. Deny. Is that?
Denai Guerrera is the actress who plays Okoye.
Oh, okay. 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 Yep.
Yeah, I agree. If we have, I mean, we know we have Letitia Wright, so
Right.
yeah. Tessa Thompson.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's probable. The man on my t-shirt, Ke
Keep
Kwan.
Mm, no. A sad no.
I think if he does, it will be post-credit, kind of like the TVA is putting together a team of people they've pulled out for Secret Wars to to throw in Doom or something like that. So he could show up in something like that. But yeah, for the movie, I agree with you. Uh, Teyonah Paris,
Oh, remind me who this is again.
Spectrum,
Oh
uh,
yeah. Okay.
Monica
Uh,
Rambeau,
um.
Photon.
Yes. Yeah. She's got to be.
I agree. Will Poulter.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Trying to go fast here, but
yep.
I
I'm
stall on some.
Yeah. Well, I'll cut it out, the pauses. So as long
Okay.
as you're quiet during, we're good. I I kind of think yeah as well. Dominique Thorne.
Yep.
I'm gonna say maybe. I think this one's lower likelihood,
Like depends
but
on how the movie
yeah,
goes.
it depends on how the show goes a little
When
bit.
when is that show coming out?
Um,
I don't remember.
June,
And
I
they've said
think.
nothing about it.
No, I expect we're gonna get a trailer for that now that Thunderbolts is out. And the show obviously
Okay.
is Ironheart.
Still, I
Like
feel
they
like
don't like to
it's
stack they don't like to overlap stuff too much,
no, but it's
especially
not
with
even
the
a
shows.
whisper. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
There's
Hmm.
been nothing happening about it. Oh, it's probably because it's been in the can for
Yeah.
years. But still, okay.
Yeah.
Dominique is like had two kids already.
Soto
Uh,
Gomez,
Okay, who the hell is that?
America Chavez.
Okay. Yes.
I agree. I think she needs to be in there. Sophia DiMartino,
Yep, don't know who that is.
Sylvie,
Oh, got
Loki.
it. N- I was like, what? Oh, no,
I agree. I don't think she'll be in there. Tatiana Maslany. Well,
please.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Tatiana Maslany, I hope as well. I will say with Sophia DiMartino, if they do TVA at all, I think would make sense that she could show up.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, Abdul Mateen the second.
Yes.
I'm gonna go no.
Hmm. Okay.
I think they're just gonna kind of be like, no, we're gonna do Wonder Man, and we're gonna make this like the best Wonder Man show we can, and we may never see that character again.
Okay.
Catherine Newton,
Catherine Newton. Drawing a blank.
Cassie Lang.
Oh, yes.
I agree. Uh, Bunmi Masaka,
I'm gonna just tell me who this is. I don't.
Hunter,
100
B-5.
B15.
Yes,
Yes. I want to say that because I think I've even heard that's the
I that
case.
was a rumor that popped up. Yeah, I could see that. Lashana Lynch.
Yep, don't know who that is. I do, but I don't.
That is Maria Rambeau.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I think she shows up. Famke Janssen?
I know who this is. Um, do they get her? Yes.
Yeah, I think
I think
so.
they'll do it for Wolverine.
Halle Berry?
Yes.
Yep. Kai Zen?
Kaizen. Who's help me?
Viola
Phone a
Vell?
friend.
Viola Vell. Guardians
No.
of the Galaxy Volume 3.
No. Nope.
I think if they do Guardian stuff, she'll be in there, but yeah, I could see a
Uh,
cameo for this one.
Okay.
Owen Wilson.
Sadly, no.
I hope yes. Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson.
I think he's done.
I think he's back for this
I
one.
think he's going to Star Wars and he's gonna. You think he's back?
I think he's back for this one, yeah.
Okay.
Charlize Theron,
Yes.
Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yep.
Haley Atwell,
Yes.
Chris Evans,
Strong yes.
Bradley Cooper,
Yes.
Vin Diesel.
Nope.
I think
Well,
yes.
yeah. No, I'll take that back. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Maria Bakalova,
I got the name, but I can't put the face to it.
Cosmo.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. Okay.
She
Because it
looks at
wasn't a
Cosmo
face.
the
It
dog.
was a dog
Uh,
head. That's right. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna go yes.
I think it's
Now, in all fairness, I've also said yes to basically all the Guardians characters except for Karen Gillan.
yeah,
So I think that it's easy enough for them to basically use existing CGI stuff they have for the dog. So that makes it easier. And then you just need to bring her in to record for half a day, or less, because it's just going to be, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to like send a message back to Earth or something, reaching out, basically being like, hey, the outer edges of the universe are starting to disappear. We see something has happened around Earth. What's going on?
sure. I just don't
So,
think they need to use a dog. Like, I just think it's extra baggage or it's just unnecessary.
yeah, but Cosmo was there, correct? As part of the team in that last scene? Was Falabelle,
Root, Rocket,
Rocket?
um, Golden Boy.
I just
Uh,
blanked on his name as
I
well.
know.
Um,
Will Tier, but what?
yeah, Will
Oh my
Poulter.
gosh. What?
I
Oh, Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock. I was like, Adam. My brain was just
Oh
going
God.
Black Adam, and I was like, no, that's DC. That's a DC movie I haven't seen.
Oh man. I think Golden Boy is also like Century, isn't it? Really? What were we saying? Oh yeah. Okay. He was there. Wasn't
My
the other
Lavelle was there.
Ravager.
Yep. And Craiglin.
Yeah.
So Cosmo was with them.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I don't
Because
know.
Mantis pieced out, Gamora's with the Ravengers, Star-Lord's on Earth, and Drax and Nebula are on nowhere. But Cosmo is with them.
I kind of feel bad that Karen Gillan won't. I said no to her, but I know
Yep.
Drax won't be there. But
hmm I just agree with you. I don't think they're going to do that. Maybe the most you could get of Nebula would be like a distress call from nowhere or something like that.
yeah, I mean,
But I don't think she's going to do a bunch of makeup again for it. So
um,
that's the full list.
so yeah. What about Gamora? I mean, you don't think that after? Oh, she's gonna be a
No,
spendy price tag.
mhm.
I can't think of her name right now. Whoever played.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, she's. I mean, I think she just did. She was in a movie, and it's not coming to mind, but it did really well. Lots of nominations or even awards.
I mean, Avatar stuff.
No, it was a woman's name.
Amelia Perez.
Yeah. So not only I think is her price tag more, I,
Also, I don't think
but maybe
from
she likes
everything
it.
we had
Maybe she has fun. Maybe they like to do
from
it.
well, from everything I think we had heard though, she didn't necessarily like it. She was one of the people who didn't like it as much.
Oh,
Like her and Batista are kind of like on it
yeah.
more
Okay.
so than anybody else. All right, so that's it for the rumors. Now let's hop over to the news. Thunderbolts opening weekend, approximately 75 million, a little bit over, I believe, in the US, and it's looking like 165 million worldwide for opening weekend. Not crazy numbers, but also not tiny numbers.
I bet you week two will stay consistent and they won't dip off as bad as
Mhm. Yeah, I think, and this, I've kind of wanted to talk about this before because I do think there's a bunch of people who have been covering movies for a while who are having a lot of trouble adjusting to what movies do post COVID. You go see the movie opening weekend or you wait for it to come out.
Uh,
And there's been consistently there's very few exceptions. Deadpool and Wolverine, Oppenheimer, Barbie, and the Mario movie
yep.
are
And
the
Minecraft, I guess.
and Minecraft now. Like those are the five I can think of off the top of my head that didn't have something like a 60 to 80% drop off.
Yeah.
I think Thunderbolts will join that group. It will have a drop off, obviously. Every movie has a drop off. Pre-pandemic, I think that number was closer to like 40 to 50%. So I think we're going to see kind of that pre-pandemic number drop off, not the post-pandemic number drop off.
Hmm.
And I think people, especially in the industry, have to get used to the idea that 70 to 80% drop off or 60 to 80% drop off is the new normal. People
Yeah.
don't necessarily go for repeat viewings of movies, and especially in the current economy, uh, that's doubly and triply going to be true. So,
I could actually, this could be one that I would go.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we'll get to
we'll get to that.
that.
Um, Next up, Jeremy Renner has turned down or has previously turned down Hawkeye season 2 after they offered him a notably reduced salary. Um,
I saw that
with
a little snippet.
mhm,
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
yeah, no, go for it. That yeah,
I don't remember who the interview was with. I didn't see
Variety, I
that.
believe.
Was it Friday?
Yep,
I'm kind of shocked by this, really. Like, is he
there's
damaged goods? Is that, I think that's kind of what he was
that's what he
kind
was
of feeling.
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's what it came across as. I think it could be multiple different things. One, they probably paid him too much for doing a TV show in the first place, the first time around. Is it twice as much as they should have? I don't know. I don't know these numbers. I don't know precisely what he got paid. But I think that was some of the issue that Marvel ran into trying to rush out all the shows and stuff like that. It was like, let's grab these big names, pay them a bunch, and not knowing how they would exactly quantify the return on it. It also makes me think that this might be fairly Kate Bishop focused. Like,
Sure.
is he going to be in 50% of the episodes? And that's why they're saying, hey, we'll pay you 50% as much. Or he was co-lead with Kate Bishop and oftentimes more of the lead than Kate Bishop was. So if that's flipped, sure. But also I totally get it if I were him to say like, no, that's too much of a cut.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, any other thoughts on that one?
It's, I mean, it's all just speculation, right? We don't
Mhm.
really know.
And
Once we don't know the money's out
yeah,
of Disney, obviously, and he was
yeah,
saying I think it was more of a Disney thing and not a Marvel thing.
yeah.
And
Well,
so,
he's also said that, yeah, in the same interview that he's very much still open to a Hawkeye season 2.
mhm,
And so it's not, I don't think this was any sort of like, oh, that was a slap in the face. I'm never going to work with you again.
right, yeah. I think he just is like at first though, you're gonna cut me
Yeah.
like that, and I think it could be a little bit of that. Maybe the story wasn't really surrounding him so much this
Yeah.
time, so that's why, it's more of a secondhand
Mhm.
character.
Yeah. I mean, the passing of the torch, which I think makes a fair amount of sense to do.
Hmm.
The passing of the bow.
With the bow. There you go.
Mhm. Gandha Monteiro will be directing episodes of The Vision show. She's currently worked on Agatha All Along, directing episodes of that, as well as directing episodes of the Netflix show Wednesday.
Hmm. Interesting. Kind of dark.
hmm I kind of like that. It's especially like since I read the Visions
Hmm.
comic, which is very dark
Is it kind
and
of, it is kind of that vein of the Wednesday, and Agatha's
not,
kind of dark a little bit and
yeah.
kind of
I think it's more in the veins of like kind of the surreal elements that we got from Agatha, where it's
okay.
just like, especially like that first trial where they go into the beach house. That one seems very, yeah, like surreal. I think that's the best way to put it.
Is it kind of like Megan 2.0 surreal?
No, no, that was
So,
That was a trailer. That was a trailer. Full stop.
That that is that was obscenely dumb. I'm sorry.
And I still want to watch it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm I'm curious, and right now I'm just clicking on to some of the episode titles, and it's hard to know with IMDb how 100% accurate it is. Okay, so she directed Familiar by Thine Side episode. Um,
Which one? Um,
yeah, I'm trying to pull up the images of this. That's the one. That's the
the music one?
Nope, that's the flashback episode. The
Oh,
accident
yep. Okay.
and then Follow Me, My Friend, to Glory at the End.
That's the music one.
Um,
That's third. I think it's the third one.
no, this is the
Cabin in the Woods one.
second to last. This is the final trial, the reveal of death.
Oh. Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Huh.
Then realizing that they were going in a circle, and she directed Maiden Mother Crone. So the final episode as well.
Okay. That was a good one. I actually.
Hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good about that.
Yeah, let me check the last two episodes that I haven't clicked on. I figured that she wouldn't have directed one of the first two episodes, and I was correct. Those were Jack Schaefer directed episodes. So I'm excited to have her in there because I think there could be some good
Direction.
episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're putting together a very nice team
Hmm.
for this show. Then the final two pieces of news. First off, Kevin Feige says that he has a 10-year plan for the X-Men in the MCU.
Is this like the Ten Commandments and he's like and he's just gonna put it out there, then just kind of fade off into
No, I think this is basically him saying like I got burnt out on stuff in like the Chapek era and I've been kind of working back
hmm
from that and now I'm real excited for it again because we're going to be doing I mean he was what associate producer on the Fox X-Men.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I think that was I think this is him being like, yeah, I'm jazzed. I'm ready to go for this. I'm excited. It also ties into some other things, and this came from interviews from Kevin Feige himself, which is why it's in the news section. But he was also saying that he doesn't want watching MCU stuff to be homework, aka it should be more standalone sort of stuff.
Hmm. Boo. I like
I
homework.
disagree.
I like
I
Marvel
mean,
homework.
I like watching all the Marvel stuff, but I agree with him heavily. I think that people, this is one of the things I'm not gonna say people. I'm gonna say there are some folks who especially are noisy about stuff on the internet who look at the Infinity Saga and say, "Oh, look at all the breadcrumbs they laid to create this whole epic masterpiece together." And they can't recreate that. It's like, well, when we watched Iron Man, for example, it didn't tease everything. When we watched Thor, the Infinity Gauntlet was there in Asgard already, and you had to retcon that in Thor Ragnarok as fake with Hela for something that didn't even exist yet for Thanos. So to me, well, I guess it did at that point in time, but to me, I think there's a nostalgic view of looking back on the MCU and saying, oh, they had this super well connected, tied together plan of everything connects together and works through and leads to the next thing. It's like, no, no, that's not the case. You could sit down and have watched Captain America, the First Avenger without having seen any of the Iron Man. You could watch Civil War without having seen any of the Iron Man movies. You'd have to have seen the Avengers movies, but you don't have to have watched three Iron Man movies if you didn't want to going into that.
You're not saying that they won't do some breadcrumbs for
Right.
things or have some fun, but
Yeah. They'll go back to doing what they've always done well instead of trying to lean into what people thought they were doing well. They
yeah,
drop in breadcrumbs for stuff that they think could be interesting and then what people get most excited about is going to help shape the direction of the story.
Oh, I'm thinking that I'm picturing like Feige on one of those big like Reed Richards chalkboards curves around half the room, and he's got it like he's mapped it out.
No, I think
I mean, that's my hope anyway. I guess I'd rather have him like map it out and be like, okay, we're gonna maybe toss this here, and we're gonna toss that there, and it's a
I think
they'll
yeah,
come
I
back
mean I
around
do
up
think he
here,
has I mean clearly he said he has a 10-year plan for the X-Men in the MCU.
right?
So he has his vision for that, but I don't think he's going to. I think with the multiverse saga, I think there was an expectation and one that they Marvel tried to deliver on of let's plan out the next what originally was supposed to King Dynasty was supposed to have come out when Thunderbolts did, and then Secret Wars in November. So like the original plan was to be done with Phase 6 by the end of this year or May of next year. We're pushed back obviously from that. And I think it's more of a we tried to plan out and just nail down everything that we wanted for this, and we forgot to let people create great things. And I think you can see, in particular with the Thunderbolts, they gave Jack Schreier a fair amount of freedom for that, and he created the Thunderbolts, which we'll be talking about here in a second. So
Okay.
I think it's more of let's make sure every movie is great first, and if to make the movie great, we have to adjust something further down the line on the chalkboard, we're all for that. Instead of here's the end goal we have to get to, and now we're at the beginning of the chalkboard, everything has to work together to get to that end. That end can be mutable, not fully changeable, but it's like, okay, we have a lump of clay. We know that we're making a statue of X-Men
Me.
villain Magneto or Apocalypse or Sinister, whoever. That's our villain at the end. But how we build that together up to that point at the end, that's going to change as we mold the clay, in my weird metaphor.
Okay. It sounds like what I want,
I think it's what
but
most people really want. I think, but I think there was an expectation of this multiverse saga that, ooh, we're gonna try, Marvel should try and tie everything together super tightly. And so they went from the end, like backwards to the front, and we're like, how do we get everything to line up perfectly? And then there were so many things that blew that up, whether it was
right.
subpar projects, whether it was COVID, whether it was Jonathan Majors, whatever it was, whether it was toxic fandom backlash against the Marvels.
Right. Yeah, I will agree. Content and the quality of that content, I think, it still needs to be
Yeah,
at the forefront, right? It'd be
yeah,
the most important part. Otherwise,
mhm,
everything else is going to fall apart. So,
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, it's. I'm trying to figure out like another way
well,
to put
I mean,
it.
I get it.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're saying. It's a loose roadmap, and they have a
yes,
goal, but they don't want to sacrifice what's inside of this goal, all the parts to it, just to bang out movies.
right. It's kind of like maybe a good analogy would be a road trip. Like the best road trip is not about getting to the destination. The destination you already know should be awesome.
Right.
Like the X-Men teamed up together facing off against Apocalypse. That should be awesome. But if you rush your whole drive just to get to that end destination, everybody's going to be cranky because you haven't had a chance to stretch your legs, get out of the car, see any, like you blow past everything that's interesting to stop at along the way, just in your attempt to get to that final thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, and so it should be a good road trip. You stop. You you don't have your set amount of time. You just take your time and you have fun along the way, and then you get to the destination. You're like, man, that was an awesome journey. Now we're here for this awesome part.
Hmm. Right. It's Yeah, it's about the journey. I think you see it on
Yeah.
the back of like Jeeps on the
Hmm.
on the spare tire.
Yeah.
Your metaphor is a advertisement for Jeeps and their tire covers.
I may actually, since this Feige stuff came out kind of over the weekend, I might do a video about it on Monday and use that analogy because I kind of like it
And you
a
might get
lot.
sponsored by Jeep. So
Well, I'm going to skip the part where I mentioned that it's on the back of every Jeep since I didn't know that.
they have things like that sometimes.
Yeah. I don't tailgate that closely, so that's why I don't notice.
Well, you're missing part of the journey then.
All right. So, on to the Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah.
Um, the main topic
Yes,
here.
yes. I've been waiting. I've been waiting.
Non-spoiler thoughts for it, Greg.
All
Do
right.
you want to kick it off or shall I?
Let me make sure. Give me a second. I gotta make sure I have no spoilers in here.
Always risky.
I don't think I do. No, okay. I I left this movie. Well, we left this movie, but I left walking away like fully satisfied. Like it was a full cup of satisfaction on this movie.
Hmm.
Unlike, and I'm not trying to beat a dead Hulk here or a horse. Unlike Brave New World, like I felt like okay, they did a good job doing something. It was fine, it was good, but I didn't feel like satisfied. Like Agatha all along and Vision,
WandaVision.
WandaVision, I just felt satisfied with that show, right? So this one
It's
I walked away from.
Mhm. It's the difference between like a popcorn movie, like eating a bucket of popcorn versus eating a nice hearty meal. This felt like a nice hearty meal. It had everything you wanted,
Right.
whereas Brave New World is a fun bucket of popcorn to eat, but you're going to be hungry again in
Hmm.
2 hours.
I will adjust your reference here to the plates of food that Fisk eats at the beginning of Born Again to the plates of food that he eats after towards the end of Born Again.
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. This movie was funny and it was a tearjerker. Like
Hmm.
literally it was very emotional.
I
Um,
know my shoulder still hasn't dried off from you crying
I
on it.
yeah, I mean it was a lot. I was sobbing. I needed a shirt
Mhm.
and a shoulder to cry on. And the
Yeah.
other guy next to me was kind of smelly. So,
Yeah,
the
well, it was interesting because he turned to him first, though we didn't know him. So
I I
that
did.
was
I
surprising,
said
but
I go, "Do you mind?" And he said, "Not at all." And then I smelled him and then I went to you. So it was emotional with perfect action beats
hmm.
tossed in to keep the punchy kicky kid in me, happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that maybe Marvel has found their feet.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, and I think people definitely have said that. And I'm a little bit like, well, every movie is different. But I
Right.
do think that,
And I stressed maybe. I'm
yeah,
pushing maybe pretty hard here.
yeah. But I do think it is what I said before. They gave the director, Schreier, kind of the keys to say, this movie doesn't have to be multiversal. We're not expecting you to set up anything for us. I'm sure there were a few things that they asked Schreier to put in, as they do with every movie, but they weren't major thing from what I can tell. And this is just a good movie, period. It's a very good Marvel movie, but overall it's a good movie because like you were saying, Greg, it has the heartfelt moments. It has a lot of heartfelt moments in it. It deals with real things
Mhm.
in terms of how like real emotions, and it has a good running bit of comedy through it. It has fun action through it. It's just a very well done movie overall.
Yeah,
And
100%.
beyond that, let's move into spoilers because that's where the fun is.
Yes, let's do it.
Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. You have been warned. Spoilers.
Spoiler.
All right, so now we are in the spoiler section. I always like to give you just one last warning to stop the podcast if you haven't watched the movie yet. Um, but first things first, Greg, I put out the poll on the
Oh,
10-Minute Marvel community tab or posts tab. Um, it's still URL still says community. The page itself says posts. What percentage of people do you think loved the Thunderbolts? We had 8 total votes.
what percentage of people love Thunderbolt?
Yep,
Thunderbolts?
from the 8 votes we had.
So wait. Is it just a love or hate? Is it two options?
Love, like, bummed out by, haven't seen it.
Okay.
So four options.
I'm gonna say out of eight people, ooh, I'll say seven of the eight loved it.
So you are close. Six out of the eight loved it.
What was the other
One
two?
one liked
Oh,
it, and one hasn't seen it,
okay.
which I feel like is perfectly fair. If you haven't seen it, go see it. But it's
Yeah.
too late now.
I am interested in sometimes the people that just liked it, like
I I think
maybe the
those
ending fell short for them, or yeah.
wanted
Or
more
just yeah,
action, bigger stakes, whatever it might be. There's
right.
plenty of different reasons I think people could like it, but
Hmm.
but
And that's
let's
okay.
yeah,
That's
let's
okay.
move into it and talk about why they're wrong. No,
Well,
let's talk
you're really
about
asking for those comments, aren't you?
no, that was me trolling. Um, I apologize to everybody for that, except for Greg. I don't apologize to you for that.
You never do.
Nope, never will. So, where do you want to start?
Um, let's talk Century.
Okay.
I don't have a ton of notes on this, like as far as so I'm kind of going off the cuff, but I think Century, like, what are your feelings on the portrayal of him and Lewis Pullman eh,
Mhm.
as the actor portraying him?
Well, first off, I'm disappointed in myself. I missed a "What about Bob" joke that I could have made.
Oh,
So, but back on the actual question you
I'm trying to think
said.
where that. What about Bob? Oh, okay.
I liked his portrayal of the character because Sentry is like in the comics, Sentry is a bit nuts. Too very nuts. And I thought Lewis Pullman did a good job with that of not taking it too far, but always really reinforcing the idea like his character is broken and doesn't know everything that's going on, does and is lying about it, has this piece to him that he already knows exists prior to becoming the Sentry. And yeah, I really enjoyed his performance
Hmm.
there. It was like also good comedy from
It
him.
was. He's, kind of that duh kind of like character at first,
Hmm.
which was funny, and then I was like, I'm glad that didn't happen throughout so much. I mean,
Yes.
there was some of it, right? But he played it really well. It kind of went from like this duh character to
Hmm.
I got something kind of wrong with me, and I can feel that there's something wrong with me, and I'm
Well,
trying to I want to
yeah, like I
and I want to
know
tell
there's
you,
something
yeah,
wrong with me, and I try and hide it away by kind of doing the duh sort of character
right.
who's spent a whole lot of his life on drugs.
Right. And so I appreciated his performance. I laughed a lot at him, and at the same time, I could tell he was kind of pushing
I
it
would,
down, right?
yeah,
Like
I would
he's
say I
so
laughed a lot with him. I didn't like I laughed at
fair.
the things that were supposed to be funny
Yes.
about him. Yes.
Right. Um, and it makes me kind of think like Stephen Yeun was supposed to play him.
Hmm.
So what would have been like? Like what would you, and obviously we'll never know, but like could he have pulled that same thing off?
I mean, I think with Bob, with Century, you kind of have to pull that thing off. So
Yeah.
I would
I could
suspect,
kind of see it. I could
yeah.
see, and I'm guessing that he obviously was the first choice for it, but I'm I'm really happy with the way it was
Hmm.
and when Lewis Pullman's
Yeah.
performance by it. So
And I really liked like the scene where he becomes Sentry, and realizes like believes everything about him that he is so powerful that he's a god,
hmm
basically, and comes to the conclusion of why would I have to take orders from anyone?
yeah.
Like that felt natural and right for the character with how he had played it.
Yeah, I agree. Like you could have had like I envisioned like multiple takes of this and it just not hitting it right, but the way that scene kind of progressed, and I think also what happened for Centuries, I think it really started maybe those memories started kicking in. You know what I mean? Like there
Hmm.
he was remembering a little bit about maybe his past, if that's kind of the direction they were taking with the Century, because he doesn't really remember. So those memories are kind of unlocking, which are feeling more natural. Like, yeah, I'm kind of a big deal, right?
Yep.
I got some stuff. I can do some stuff. You even mentioned it kind of way back when they're breaking him out at that underground base.
Hmm.
He's like, I can, let me help. Like
Hmm.
I feel like I can do something here. So the way that progressed, it was quick in a sense when
Hmm.
they were up in a which is the Watchtower now in this
Yep.
show, but Avengers Tower, a Watchtower. It was quick, but it felt natural enough. And
Yeah.
man, when they kind of unleashed all of his like, here's what he can do kind of thing,
Hmm.
I thought that was an amazing sequence and a great fight scene.
Yeah. And I will say too about his character, because they spent the time building up who he was mentally before, it felt earned that he could have all those powers, that he could be unstoppable,
Hmm.
because we already knew there was a massive weakness to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the element for me that has always been missing with Captain Marvel is she's super powerful, but they tried in the Marvels to kind of hit on her weaknesses as a person, but it needed to be driven home from the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah. You really get, like, it's comparative to a Superman, right? But you
Yes.
really get it brought home in that action sequence of this dude is every angle you take with him is going to be a dead end, right? And
Yep.
the morphing of him in that sense into more of that Void character was it was really well done, and
Hmm.
it made the threat of when the Void showed up that much more
Yes.
just a lot more gravity to it, right?
Hmm.
It was cool to see what Sentry could do as long as Bob stays in control, but when the Void came out, it was like, yeah, this is like world ending. Like this is
Yeah.
bad.
Yep. Yeah, this is something that 99% of people wouldn't be able to fight through.
Right. And I love the fact that I'll just jump to the end. Like he's really just they don't know what to do with him, right?
Hmm.
He kind of just has to sit off in the corner
Yeah.
because if you unlock this thing, if you unlock the Bob or the Golden Boy, the Sentry figure, you have a very tall chance of unlocking the Void at the same time because of his instability, because he doesn't also remember what happened. So he
Hmm.
can't learn from his mistakes in a sense. So
Right.
it's the ultimate double-edged sword.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah. Should we talk about the kind of the emotional driver of the story too? Maybe for the next thing?
Yeah.
Because I think that is, you have to have a good villain character. And well, the Void, like the Void is a very menacing villain. He's also a solid villain, and Val is the bigger villain
Hmm.
here. But you also need to have that good emotional element to it. You have to care about and connect with the main characters. And I thought they did a really good job with that with most of them.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you didn't need to do it with all of them. Like, I don't think we got as much from Bucky. I don't think we got as much from Ghost.
Right. I wouldn't
But
mind seeing like an extended cut if they could give me a few more segments
with
in the
Ghost,
with Ghost.
what does the Void look like for everybody else? But
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I don't need
mhm,
I'm seeing them all would kind of like add like an extra 20 minutes. I feel like that's kind of too much.
right.
But if it would be one other character, oh, it probably would be Ghost, but I'm also sort of intrigued by John Walker. We
Yeah.
got to see John
We
Walker.
got to see John Walker. So,
Yeah, so I guess Ghost would be the Guardian be a little bit interesting, but not as interesting as Ghost. So
mhm,
I would like to see that. Bucky, I agree. We've seen him, and I love how they call it out, right? Like,
yeah.
I had a fantastic history, whatever he
Yep.
said. So I'm
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
Super well done there. Way to
Mhm.
wrap that up. Yeah,
But
emotional. Go
I
ahead.
just love how we got to see Yelena feeling all alone and then really spending time kind of on that about how feels not only like she's alone, um, as far as she knows, she kind of is taking out problems for Val, and the Red Guardian hasn't reached out to her
Hmm.
in a year. And she's just like, well, this is work that I'm doing for Val, but what's kind of the point? I don't like, I'm globe hopping I had my previous mission of freeing all the widows, but like I was gone for 5 years. Like I come back, my sister's gone. I don't know where to pick up anything again. Um,
Right. And when you don't deal with that stuff, right? When you don't
hmm
deal with those kind of things, it's compounding. So
hmm
I think she just there's a lot to go through, a lot of baggage in a sense
Yeah.
that she just hasn't worked through and it caught up with her. And
hmm
so I do like how they really focus on that. And it, to the point where she was talking to her dad and just was like, I needed you. Where were you? You know,
hmm
and he's like, I didn't know what how to help. And it was
Yeah.
a lot of like really honest conversations.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, it was a level of, it was a nice balance. It was a nice
hmm
balance of like that honesty, but not pulling it too far into that drama
Yeah.
to keep the movie grounded in some of that other hero action comedy
Yes.
aspects. So,
Yeah. And it also is really, I think, impactful too, because like they've done studies about just the increase of loneliness in our society.
yeah.
Like it's crazy high
I love how
with
she mentions her phone. Like I just stare
Mhm.
at my phone and I get drunk and then just re rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
true.
Yeah. And like this is actually psychologically, scientifically true, which makes, I think, the plot just hit so much more
Hmm.
right now. And like for me personally, I've been on the job hunt for a little while, and there's this element of it where, yeah, I I'm blessed to have a good support network of people who I'm still in regular contact with. Obviously, with this podcast, Greg and I interact and have actual conversations outside of Marvel stuff, mainly about how Greg's house is falling apart, or at least the
Yeah.
bathrooms.
That- It's that's
Toilet,
true.
a toilet a week.
Okay.
Okay,
I just keep adding bathrooms and then the oldest one breaks and I just add a new bathroom on.
yeah, but
It's a vicious cycle.
yeah, it's but it's something that is very true and honest to, I think, a lot of people out there,
Hmm.
depending on whatever circumstance it is. And so I really like how they could address that in something that is so fantastical.
Yeah. It's fantastical and relatable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I and some people they weren't really on board for how I mean, especially how it ended, right? How the
hmm
century goes down, but which we called by the way on this. I did.
Yeah.
We did,
Yeah.
maybe.
We did.
We did. Cool. Okay. Um, so some people that it just wasn't it doesn't jive with them as well, and that's okay.
hmm
Um, and I understand that, but I think for me
Yeah.
it was a refreshing change
hmm
that I was happy with. And so I'm
Yeah.
just one of the people that enjoyed the direction they took it.
Yeah, and I was very pleased with kind of the ending, where it was they found Bob in the void
Mhm.
after Yelena had gone into the void, and I want to talk about that here in a couple seconds, but it was basically Bob feels like he's all alone. He finds the best of his bad memories to just sit and watch. It's only when Yelena shows up and the others then go in after Yelena to help get Bob back out that he's able to move forward. He's able to start taking steps forward because he has people alongside him. But even then, he's still not truly able to break away from the control, the darkness that the void has in him, because he looks at it and he sees, to defeat the void, I have to beat it up. I have to destroy the void with my fists, with the
Yeah.
power that I've been getting,
Yeah.
which just turns Bob into the void.
Yeah.
It's like he's just leaning into the darkness in a way that isn't healthy. And I really like that because I think that's, again, fairly realistic in a lot of ways. Of like, a lot of people try and beat down the dark side or whatever the element of loneliness, separation they feel. They try and beat it down, fill it with, like you were saying, looking at the phone,
Yeah.
stuff like
Phone,
that.
alcohol, like drugs, something that's
Yeah,
almost like what he's doing, like you or they're doing. They're just filling with more darkness, right?
yeah,
So he's
yeah.
losing to himself in that sense.
And turning into what he hates
Yeah,
and what he's trying to stop. And so you do need I think it is real. You need people to come alongside you and to be able to say, yeah, we understand that it's dark, that this looks really crappy, but we're here. We're with you. We're going to be with you through this darkness,
yeah,
and we're going to be with you to help you take the steps that you need to take a step out of it. And I don't know how else you beat the void
right.
at the end. We saw how impossible it was to beat the Sentry, and the void is just the Sentry with even more dark powers.
hmm Yeah, there's a Shel Silverstein poem called Hug a War."
Hmm.
It's kind of like that. It's like you kind of just give a hug.
Yeah.
Hugs. It helps.
Yep. And I do like the fact like they beat the void, but they still kind of lose overall because the actual villain of this piece, not the broken human being, the actual villain of this piece, Val, then immediately announces you as the new Avengers.
Yeah. And they got shoved into this role and they're like, okay. I do like how the color changed in the movie at that point. That was it everything kind of seemed brighter and more
Hmm.
colorful when they went through that curtain to like flip to the other side almost. Um this was something that was kind of interesting to me. I was like, where are they taking this? Because obviously the new Avengers, it's not so much what I'm focused on, but like the physically what they looked like, Bucky had like this really weird hairstyle. And
Hmm.
obviously Red Guardian was flaunting his Avengers with the Z and like that whole like it looks like a race uniform, right?
Yes,
Almost.
with all the advertisements.
Yeah, and then Johnny Mayonnaise, John Walker had like the beret, which is kind of, comic accurate in a sense,
Yeah.
but um and Ghost, I don't know. I guess she didn't really I guess her hair was very done up and stuff like that. So it was like
Yeah.
almost very staged. It had the elements of the boys in a sense where they're dealing with that like selling themselves, right?
Yep.
So it was an interesting way to present them
Hmm.
and it wasn't talked about. It
Yep.
just was kind of this thing. But Bucky's hair like was just ridiculous. It looked like it was it. I don't know how to explain it, but it just caught me off guard.
Hmm.
So I thought it was interesting how they did that.
Yeah, and I think it sets up something that will be fairly important for Doomsday because I always, or not always, but once they revealed the chairs, I kind of tossed out the idea, do we have a Thunderbolts team, or in this case now a new Avengers team? They're going to be looking to solve the problem of the incursion. Do they look at it and go like, well, the only option we have, and this might be like the prompting of a Namor or a Val or something like that, kind of getting into their head, is like the only option we have is to destroy the other world. We have to, like, Sentry, I know we don't want to do this for you with you, but we'll be there with you to make sure it doesn't go wrong.
Right.
Are they going to be the proverbial bomb
Yeah.
that messes up the better plans of everybody else?
Yeah.
Because that it feels like that's where it's heading, where they're losing the popularity contest.
Yeah. And they're obvious right. They're obviously Bucky and Sam are not getting along. This is
Yep,
14 months later, right? So
yep,
we're now into 2028. Is that what we
yep.
decided? Okay.
Late
So
2028 probably.
yeah. So like there's a some sort of conflict happening
Hmm.
between whoever's with Sam, so the new Falcon and Sam and his team, and then the new Avengers. But I think maybe it's trying to keep it a little bit light with the idea of because on Red Guardian's suit there was advertisements, right?
Yeah,
So it's almost like sellout is like kind of where they're going with that.
yeah.
And Val kind of like they own Val in a sense is what they're saying because they have all the dirt on her, but she's presenting them as this team. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It fits with the Thunderbolts. I don't know how it fits in the rest of the story, but
Hmm.
I think it's going to be interesting. And what one I kind of agree with you. I'm kind of hoping that Sentry is like their go-to person, so they have to come to the Thunderbolts, and like the other teams, like whether it's New Avengers, Young Avengers, they'll have to come to the Thunderbolts and say, "Hey, we need this person you got to take down Doom. And I hope that that's almost like a
Yeah.
catapult the problem even worse kind of thing.
Yeah. See, and I think it's going to go in a very different direction actually than that. I don't think anybody comes to them. I think every other team is working on stuff to try and figure out like a good
Oh,
solution to it.
and they're seen like
And
as a joke
they're kind of seen
almost.
like as a joke, or the secondary Avengers team. Like Sam Wilson's team is the one that steps up really fast and makes that first contact with the X-Men from the other world. And so they're kind of seen as that, and they know that the countdown's coming, and they just feel like they've been sitting around doing nothing. They've been trying to help,
Yeah.
but and so they eventually just are like, oh, we need to do something important. We need to do something that matters.
We got to stop being the bench warmers here and
Right.
step up. Yeah.
And that's where I think they get that little prod from a Val or probably from a Namor of this other, like, we're at the point where one of the two worlds is going to survive. And if we don't make the move before they do, it's going to be them. Like, we're going
Hmm.
to die.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, all right, well, we've sat around long enough. We're the joke team. We can finally do something. We can finally be heroes, like
Right.
be the Avengers. And then it obviously backfires.
Yeah. They're kind of the blunders, right? So
Yep.
I could see them taking that. Um, let's talk maybe just wrap it up maybe with the big post credits.
Yeah.
Like, unless
Yeah.
you got more. Do you have more on anything else you
I'm trying to think. So we kind of talked about the heart of the film. We talked about Sentry. We didn't really touch on the action too much. I
uh
I
I'll
like the fact it was just punchy, kicky.
Yeah, I think the scene like the opening scene where they all
Yeah.
are going after each other, they each had their own hit in the room was really well done and fun. Great way to kick off the movie. I thought
Yeah,
um
let's not
uh,
skip the Taskmaster dies. That was
right,
that
that's part of my intro.
was
That's
yeah.
that's right.
That was
Um
what did you think of that? Just real quick.
I was a little shocked. I mean, I was shocked at how little they cared about her. I
Yep.
think because I felt like at the end of Black Widow, like there was some sort of like redemption thing happening there, and but it was just like a complete, nah, she made her choices and had her struggles, and now she's
Hmm.
dead, and sorry, but
Yeah.
at the same time,
I was trying to figure out like was that death needed there? And I think I landed on yes, it was just because then you broke the chain of everybody's trying to kill one other person.
mm,
You needed that chain to be broken because then Ghost is the one who kills Taskmaster, which I think Val was very particular about who she sent after who,
yeah,
too. Is
yeah,
like Taskmaster literally can't do Ghost moves because she can't disappear.
right,
So Ghost is the perfect one to do that. Taskmaster can copy everything that John Walker does and will know how to handle him, even though he has superhuman strength.
right,
John Walker can is strong enough and can overpower Yelena, even
hmm
with her assassin training. And Yelena has the assassin training, so she'll be able to take out Ghost in a way that Ghost isn't expecting.
right. I would almost, I mean, I think that's just like by default at that point because I think Elena could have probably taken out Taskmaster as well since,
Maybe.
well, didn't Black Widow oh man. Oh, what's her name? Natasha. Didn't she do that in Black
Ish.
Widow? I guess ish, yeah, that's
Ish.
right. Either way,
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's a perfect circle, right?
Yep. And so I
Um,
think you needed to break the circle so that Ghost could just be like, well, I did my thing. I'm leaving,
yeah.
sort
And
of
then
a
right,
thing.
give everybody a second to pause and to kind of think
Yep.
about. So, that action scene was great. I thought I don't know, it's not necessarily an action scene, but I loved the tunnel where they're trying to climb up. I thought that was
Hmm.
it was really unique, I think, and well done.
Yep.
We've already kind of talked about up in the watchtower. I think
Hmm.
seeing all of what Sentry could do and with the ease that he could do it
Yes, like
made
he
it very
was,
scary.
yeah, he wasn't moving for the
Yeah.
most part. He was just floating there, and every once in a while would like reach out and grab somebody to throw them or move a hand to telekinetically push them.
Yeah. I
It
could use a
was,
little bit more even of that scene. Just a little bit
hmm
more. Um,
And then I did like
what's
the as the city's starting to crumble before like the void really
yeah,
starts to throw around its abilities. I do like how they're rescuing people. I think that was
yeah,
enjoyably done. Like it
yeah,
gave them a chance to shine and be heroic.
yeah. It kind of put humanity in their characters,
Yeah.
that they're in it for the right reasons now.
Mhm.
Um,
I did have one other thing, not around the action. So if you have anything else with the action,
um, I think the only other action scene that really I enjoyed was when they were breaking Bob out or when they were trying to get out. I thought
yeah.
it was kind of comical at the same time. It was
Yeah.
good.
It was great because they weren't a team. They
Right.
were blundering together. They cared enough that they had been set up that they were helping each other,
Hmm.
but they certainly weren't a team at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of some were doing that trust exercise of falling backwards, right?
Yep.
And like because that's they trusted Ghost that she'd come back and to get the car and trust that there's a little bit of still mistrust happening between Yelena and Johnny Walker,
Yep.
Johnny Walker, John
John
Walker,
Warren. Yep.
Johnny Mayonnaise, whatever.
Yep.
And how Yelena's plan didn't quite work right, and so there's a little
Mhm.
bit of distrust. I don't know. It was so that was fun.
Yeah.
Um,
So that does give me a second thing to ask you about as well before
okay,
I get to my final thing. There are three left.
okay.
I'm going to put, we're going to save the last one to put both of us on the spot at the very end. But after we talk post-credit scenes, but do you think Elena was only walking into the void to try and save Bob? Do you think
I
she
felt
was, yeah, go for it.
I felt like she knew that she had like in her heart she knew that Bob kind of needed her,
Yep.
but also when she saw like that young girl go,
Hmm.
she felt like I think they kind of maybe mentioned this on New Rockstars, so I may have picked it up from there and I liked it, but it was a chance to redeem her killing of that one girl in her
In vision.
dream
Yeah.
yeah, the vision that she had in the void to go after and try and save him. So not only
Hmm.
save the girl, save Bob, also kind of like to meet herself head on and to try and
Hmm.
save herself. So
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't really seem like a giving up sort of thing,
no,
but
no,
yeah, it does kind of toe that line for her character, I
yeah,
think too. Is like she I think she knew that that was the only way to potentially get through it and get to Bob, but I think she also knew was like yeah, I've done my bad stuff, so many bad things in the past that if this doesn't work,
oh
it's okay
well.
if I'm gone.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that too. I agree.
Yeah. Um, the second to last one is, do you think they did a good job of not really redeeming John Walker as a character, but making him more sympathetic?
Um,
Like
Not a
he's,
fantastic job, I would
Mhm.
say. I think he's still going to be the a-hole,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Which is good,
Yep.
but I have to buy into both
Yes.
in a sense, right? So I think they need to do a little work around his character with he's still an a-hole, but he's really
But there's this
tr
duty
yeah,
aspect. Like,
which yeah, you're right. There's a duty to do his job. Like because his whole thing is like he wanted to be Captain America so bad, and he was his mind and heart was always in the right spot for Falcon and the Winter
mhm,
Soldier, I think. But when the super serum was given to him, it enhanced, I think that mo it's almost like it enhanced that moment in time of him wanting to be this character and also doing this vengeful act of
mhm.
going after the Flag Smashers, right? So it almost brought together these two sides of him, and that's what you get today. But I'd like a little bit more development on that, just
Yeah.
so I get both sides equally.
Yeah, I would love to see a little bit more of that duty, of that lawful kind of honor
Yeah,
side that he has, and which comes across. I mean, in D&D terms, this is the paladin character. So, like your lawful good sort of character who has no charisma, so they're just an a-hole
yeah,
while telling people to do the right thing.
yeah. There's a character like that in Invincible too, and I'm
Mhm.
Rex. Um,
Yeah.
Great show by the way, and has
So,
Stephen Ewan in it.
yeah.
But
So post credit scenes.
yeah, um,
We can just kind of gloss over the first one. It's basically Red Guardian really pushing the fact that they're on the Wheaties box.
Yeah.
I hope
Pushing
that
that. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead. Go
I
ahead. Go
hope
ahead.
that we get actual Wheaties boxes like that.
I'd buy them. I like Wheaties
Yep.
with sugar on them, of course. But
Yeah, to make them healthy.
yeah. Um, it was funny.
Yeah.
But again, it's that he's buying into the capitalism thing, right? Which
Yes.
is and so it's just that weird thing that they're leaning into with the Thunderbolts that I'm kind of curious about what they're going to do. But um,
The second
the the second one
one,
obviously more important, right?
right. And we've talked a little bit about it already because
Yeah,
this was the 14 months later. The I talked to Sam.
right.
He's
We didn't have a good conversation. It was
yeah.
kind of a heads butting, which is weird because in Brave New World they seem to be good, but they always butt heads like they did
Yeah.
in Winter Soldier or in
Uh,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
yeah.
Also, Bob is there, but he's off in the kind of he's almost like the young kid that they just put over to the side that to get and they give him a book and a treehouse and just kind of is like hanging out over there.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like, yeah, okay, Bob, go over to that corner. Here's your book. Here's your juice box. S-
Yeah,
Just chill while the adults talk
right.
about talk about work.
Yeah. Don't think about bad things, Bob. Just
Yeah.
be happy. What do you need another juice box, Bob? I'll get you another juice box. Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. But then there's an anomaly in space and a spacecraft approaching. And I actually was at a friend's place today, and his wife also noticed the same thing I did.
Really?
Yep.
I'm not as cool
So
as you guys.
yeah, what I noticed and what she noticed was that the Fantastic Four theme was one of the songs in the movie in the film credits. So, sure enough, the spaceship is the spaceship that we've seen in the Fantastic Four trailer with the planet exploding. Um, and it rotates, and you see the Fantastic Four logo on the side.
Hmm.
And this scene was shot by the Russos 4 weeks ago, which is
I
it's just
that's
crazy. Like
it
they
is
got
crazy.
that into the movie. So are the Fantastic Four on the ship?
I don't think this is anything that's going to ruin the Fantastic Four. I
No.
don't think it's that's too idiotic to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a red herring in a sense. Maybe
Could be Doom even
that-
stealing.
that's
That's what
honestly
it
that's
feels
what I
like to
was
me.
thinking. Right. It's like you will see maybe in the Fantastic Four, maybe like that rocket ship goes off early on and like like it's Doom getting on it and piecing out, right? And that's
Yep.
what we're seeing. It's not the Fantastic Four. So some people thought it's a Franklin and Kirby, something. I'm like, I don't know, probably not. But
It could be cool if it's like if, because if with the time runs out storyline, you have adult Franklin coming back. So what
oh,
if it is adult
oh,
Franklin
that makes a little bit more
and maybe
sense.
like it could even be adult Franklin and adult Valeria.
That's way cool.
Yep,
I think that's I like that idea a lot, actually.
that's what I'm here for. That's why they pay.
Good.
That's why I pay me the big bucks.
All right. At least I don't have to pay you for those genius ideas.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think hang on to that one. Um,
Hmm.
put it out on a video now. Get it out there.
Yep.
Point it.
Yeah, that's the actually that's Monday's video. It will be the two post-credit scenes or the implications of the second post-credit scene, really. The first one,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
Um,
It's fine.
but anything else you want to touch on with the post-credit scenes?
Um, I don't think so. I think as far that could have been one of my favorite post-credit scenes I've seen in a long time. I'll just say
Yeah.
that, right?
Hmm.
It had relevance to something that's happening soon. It's not super ambiguous,
It's
or
very
something that may
much
not. It feels like it's going to pay off, right?
yeah. This is very
So
much Thor's shield in what, the end of Iron Man?
Thor's hammer, you mean?
Yeah, Thor's hammer.
I was like, he has a
And
shield? Okay,
no,
yeah,
we see the
yeah,
shield in but yeah, Thor's
yeah,
hammer is like, okay, yeah, we know that. We already know that's the next movie
right,
coming.
yeah.
So it's just that little tease without giving anything away for
Right. And so there's something happening in space, right? Which they
it.
mentioned.
Yeah.
So who knows? That could be obviously the incursions, it could be something else that they're
Yeah.
I don't know. So It was
I
cool.
really
I
like
think
the
it
idea.
was really good. It was really good at post credit. So
I'm now that I said adult Franklin Richards after you had said Franklin and Herbie, I'm just
spinning, your mind's going, isn't it?
I really like that idea.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
would be, I think, that'd be one of those good reveals where it's like, oh yeah, that was a perfect setup for it.
Yeah.
But Greg, I
Now,
have one,
why they would not have a different ship since they are from the future? That'd be
but
your only
are they from the future? Or could this be like a Lost in Space thing where
time dilation.
time dilation and or he grew up on the ship?
Oh,
Like he was sent out, kind of like the
oh, like
uh
Superman thing.
yeah, yeah. But
Kal-El.
he's not
Okay.
like sent out somewhere. He was shot off into space to survive. Like they
Uh,
sent Herbie with him.
yeah.
And when he grew up, he put everything together. He put together like Galactus, Doom, the incursions, universe ending.
I'm sure
Where can
Reed
I
put all that
go?
information on board too,
On
right?
board, yeah. And then he pieced it together into a way of like, okay, now I've had X number of years. I mean, 40 years, no more than that. I've had 60 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I've finally figured it out, so I'm coming through.
Yeah. Hmm. We shall see.
Yep.
All right, you had a
But
question for me.
yes, and it's for me as well. There were six movies in Phase 5. Let's rank them real quick.
Come on.
I know. I'm gonna, I'll list them all off for you.
Thank you.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America Brave New World, and Thunderbolts.
All right.
So, your number six,
Ooh.
Greg. What's the lowest one for you?
Um, yeah, that okay. I'm struggling with six. I'm probably gonna struggle with all these, honestly, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna say, and
it's easier.
it's gonna be interchangeable a little bit. These could be interchangeable, but I'm gonna say, dang it, Quantum Mania.
I agree. Um, Quantumania, bottom one for me, just because it felt like it was trying to do a lot. It had some very cool elements to it, but then the ants just kind of made that last fight a little bit eh. And then as it like that last post credit or not post credit scene, but like the end of the movie where it's just like everything's off, feels off to him. It's like, well, great, but that's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the movie I talk about, or that I mean when I'm really referencing something where it was like they were like, we know where we want to end with Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Let's now make Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania fit that.
Yeah, yeah,
I still had fun with it, but I think I still probably like it better than most people. But yeah,
yeah.
uh, number five.
Marvels, which again could
Yeah,
interchange depending on the day between that and the Quantum Mania.
I will also agree, actually.
Okay.
I think my four and five are probably closer together, and Quantumania is probably a solid six.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it just it was fun. Didn't have the best villain in it, and the fight scenes should have been cooler. I feel like it's kind of what it is with Marvels.
Yeah. Yes. They had some cool ideas, I think is what I remember saying. It
Yeah,
just didn't execute as well, and it was really
yeah,
choppy.
yep. Number four.
Number four for me is Brave New World.
Okay, I'm gonna be different here. I'm gonna go Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
It's my number four.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
I can understand that.
It's stupid fun, but it's also stupid fun.
Yeah, I know, and that's I had that kind of problem with where I put Deadpool as well. Which I have at number three.
Yeah, and I have Captain America: Brave New World as
Okay.
number three.
Yeah. So that leaves one and two.
Yep,
So did you enjoy Guardians 3 more than Thunderbolts?
I did not.
Me either. I think Thunderbolts took it from, and it could be some recency bias, right?
Yeah,
Which call it out, very
yeah.
possible. I that hallway scene in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think about it all the time, and I love it so much. The final fight scene that they do,
hmm
so great.
I
But Thunderbolts just was
mhm.
so perfectly packed.
Yeah. I look at it this way as if you were to ask me which one of those two I'd want to see again, Thunderbolts
Yeah,
would. I can really comfortably say that. And I think some of that is because Guardians of the Galaxy kind of gives you more whiplash of comedy to like super heavy animal experimentation, death, and loss, and
Mhm.
then comedy, whereas Thunderbolts blends it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes me kind of want to watch Guardians 3 again. Not that I just to see kind of just so I can kind of get into the recency bias maybe on that side
Yeah.
too, but yeah. I'm sticking with my number one is Thunderbolts.
Mhm.
So,
Yep, and I'll be curious to see where it lands. Probably start of next year. So, for those of you who are planning out your 2026, at the start of 2026, we'll redo our Marvel rankings
yep.
because that feels like the right time. Redo it before Doomsday comes out. And so I'll be curious, especially after we have another 7 months, 8 months of where Thunderbolts settles in at.
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
right
that
now, the recency bias for me is like, yeah, that could be high. But the nice thing is, since my wife didn't go with us to see the movie this time, I for sure am seeing it again.
I know, right? I told my wife the same thing. I'm like, we should really go. I am like money and bring my kids, honestly.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But with that, thank you so much for listening. The poll is not closed on our YouTube channel, so please go there, vote as you see it, um, and let us know your thoughts there. We appreciate everybody checking out the podcast. Greg at the beginning gave a few ways you can help support us, but we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdologists. The funds go to help improve the quality of this podcast, as well as the Multimedials YouTube channel, the 10 Minute Marvel YouTube channel, and the nerdologist.com website. But with that, we'll see you next time.
Bam.